Kodak Black got a $75,000 bond, but I want to get y'all to the actual story because how this shit unfolded is crazy. Basically, it says that on November 24th at 1 in the morning, Officer Chavez responded in Orlando regarding multiple callers reporting hearing gunshots and seeing numerous vehicles parked where no shots originated. Then the cop hopped out full patrol uniform, which, is the vest on and all that, and then the word police on the front and the back of it. Now what ends up happening is the uniformed police officer has the damn Orlando department shoulder patch on it. So he's basically showing y'all, I'm the police. So it basically lets y'all know he was super identifiable as law enforcement. And as he pulled up, several people, sorry, I've been hanging out with Memphis people, man. It's the music. They got me, man. They got me, man. Basically, he pulled up, see several people gathered around two running vehicles with the headlights on, and he basically approached the vehicles to his right. He see the BMW SUV. Inside the BMW SUV, he saw three people. Then the cop approached the driver's side door and could immediately smell freshly burnt cannabis emanating from the vehicle. What y'all rolling over there is what the cop said. So the damn cop decided, I'm going to investigate this instead of a shooting, which doesn't make any damn sense. But we going to keep on reading. The cop basically say, hey, shit, you got your medical card? He said that to somebody identified as Avin Joseph. And then Avin Joseph said, nah, I ain't even got one, bro. So then the cop observed what appeared to be an open container protruding from under the passenger seat. The cop knows the Mercy Drive area to be a high crime drug area. So the cop says, based on this and working in this specific area for almost 5 years, based on the smell of weed and no medical marijuana card. Whoa, that's that QR code, man. Y'all know what that is, man. They said no more 5. Nah, double that. Put 10 to win. Thursday, swerve day, you feel me? Free cash, Seti Nash, man. They said 10 in your account. Soon as you install it up on your phone and start playing today. Y'all know what free cash do, right? All right, we ain't got to discuss that. Go ahead and don't be an Adrian Broner, man. Don't be a hater, man. Do your thing, man. Start playing games and figure out how you can win and spin on this Thursday. And the sounds of gunfire being reported at this damn location, there's probable cause to search the vehicle. But once again, if there were multiple gunshots, where did you see any bullet holes, anything like, did you take your goddamn flashlight out? Did you scan any freaking anything? Like nothing? You didn't search the ground for shells. You didn't search the gates. You didn't search the houses for bullet holes. You just smell burnt weed? And that was enough for you to do that? Okay. So he found probable cause to search the vehicle. Additionally, it should be noted that Joseph has a suspended Florida driver's license. But sitting in the driver's side doesn't mean that he was actually driving. Now, some could argue because the car was on or whatever the hell. But that's just like saying, well, it's hot as hell, so we turned on the AC. But whatever. So upon searching that BMW, the cop located a bag in the trunk containing 56 grams of cannabis in a sealed marked cannabis bag and a metal container containing a pink substance. Now, that pink substance, that pill, it tested positive for MDMA using an OPD-issued NIC kit. And additionally in the bag, the cop located a passport that belonged to somebody named Trayvon Hardy, and $60. The money bag, weed, MDMA pills were placed in the OPD property as evidence. So they put it in an evidence locker and they said, oh shit, we done already crashed something. So while searching the BMW, somebody else pulled up. It's Kodak Black. Officer began the search. And what did he find out? Oh shit. Hey man, listen, we gotta find another vehicle. We did? Yeah, a green Lamborghini. That was occupied by a sole rear passenger, identified as James Demetrius Twitty. Now, Twitty, he was sleeping in the passenger side. Next to Twitty was a white leather bag. The cop walked over to the passenger side of the vehicle to open the front passenger door. But here's the kick. He had no reason to basically do that. If you see somebody sleeping in a $250,000 vehicle. Why the hell would you open the passenger door? But the cop said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and open that door. So he then goes on to say, as he walked around the side of the vehicle to open the passenger door without entering the vehicle, viewing from outside, how convenient, he could see white powdery substance on a $100 bill on the front floorboard. Should be noted that next to that $100 bill with the narcotics on it was a pink pair of scissors. Those scissors actually was seen, you got it, with Kodak Black. I'm a super enhancer right here. So they're saying these are the same pair of scissors. These scissors right here, let me go ahead. These scissors right here match these scissors that's already have the blue thing on it. I just hurried up and destroyed the English language with that. So what it says is, it should be noted that the picture that has the 2 rings on the floorboard match the rings worn by Kodak Black. So Kodak basically has his rings and his scissors on there. The cop didn't say, you know what I know because I'm trained and experienced in this shit. So the cop says those substances are narcotics because who else is putting white powdery substance on a dollar bill? Unless you're a fat guy like Steady Nash and, it's powdered donuts on there. Sounds good. So he basically says that he took taking a drug identification course. That's where his education come from, just because he could be able to see it. But it's funny because it could have been baby powder or anything like that. But nope. Furthermore, the interior of the vehicle smelled of freshly burnt cannabis. Based on this, the cop woke his ass up from the vehicle and conducted a probable cause. So the cop basically did not do a thorough enough investigation and figured and said, you know what, I see some dudes kicking it out here. I'm finna go walk around and basically start searching shit and everything. And that's what it's boiling down to, because this story seems like the cops were searching for a reason to arrest, because you had to write why you were there most of the times. Now, sometimes I say neighborhood watch, we're used to these faces and all this shit and everything, and they're known to blah, 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 whatever the hell. But this story, it goes way worse and deeper real quick. Check it out. Search Twitty in the vehicle. As Twitty was exiting the vehicle, he reached down towards his waist. Shirt came up slightly, which allowed the cop to see a holstered firearm in his right side. It was actually concealed. So he let the cop know, I got fire on me. So the cop, in whatever reason, decided that he said, I'm about to remove this gun so that you don't shoot me. So the Glock 19 9mm handgun bearing the serial number of CHDM 912, basically that this goddamn thing was ready to be converted. Why? I don't know. But let's read it word for word. He said, based on my training experience, it is my opinion that this weapon is designed to or may readily be converted to expel a projectile by the action of an explosive. That's him showing off. Yeah, we know you put a shell over a piece of metal that can fit in there, you put some gunpowder there, and then you spark it and pow, there it goes. The projectile fires from the nozzle of the firearm and the shell expands out the side of the gun. Congrats, cop. So Twitty basically say, hey, that gun is mine and I got my license for that, which he did. So all that shit wasn't even really needed right there. So he's a legal carrying United States citizen. Twitty stated that nothing in the vehicle was his. He stated he had won the money in a casino but could not show receipts besides one dated November 14th, 2025. Because for some odd reason, once you get money from a casino, your ass is just supposed to spend it. So to hell with a damn savings account. So the cop conducted a search of the Lamborghini SUV first. The cop removed a white leather bag that was next to Twitty. Inside the bag, he located 28.32 grams of cannabis packed with 8 separate containers. One container marked THC level at 36.46 and another at 36.99. The cop tested the sample of the damn weed with a kit, which measures if the substance or hemp tested positive for cannabis, obviously. And based on the bag being directly next to Twitty, he being the only person in the vehicle, Twitty being armed with a firearm, the damn cop said, you know what? This is enough right here. We're going to hit you with over possession of 20 grams and a concealed firearm and the commission of a felony. What that felony is, I guess we'll continue to find out. So he went on to search the vehicle even more, which resulted in another pink bag at the rear passenger seat being located by another officer, Sergeant Chase. Inside that bag, a plastic bag containing substance later identified by FDLE as MDMA was located. The bag weighed a total of 27 grams. Inside the same pink bag, the cop located $37,000 in multiple denominations, meaning there was hundreds, tens, 50s, 20s, probably a couple ones or whatever. Wouldn't be no ones, I'm being funny. But anyways, the cop located that money, and then inside that bag was numerous documents to the name Bill Kapri, a.k.a. Kodak Black. This fool even had his prison ID up in the damn card, foreshadowing where the hell he was headed to right after this. So they found that with his name and all that shit, and then the documents found inside the bag a bottle of hydra. I don't know how to say that shit, but basically promethazine. He had the lean in there. And then alcohol level above 0.7% inside the bag as well. Bottle was turned over to OPD CSTS for latent print processing. The sample of the contents of the bottle was taken in place in the OPD property. The evidence for testing a Frisbee was in the same bag because, you know, it's windy as hell in Florida with all the palm beaches and tornadoes and shit. The cop picked up 4 latent prints from the damn Frisbee. These will be submitted for testing. A tablet was located and submitted to the police department as well for latent print processing, basically saying, we're going to find out who this belongs to. The narcotics, money, documents, and Frisbee will all be entered into OPD property and evidence. The prints were not sufficient enough to acquire any matches because if you know, like we know, we've been lied to about fingerprints. So we want to see below another damn picture. That sounds fair? Alrighty, let's keep on going. You see the stupid ass shit right here. So as you can see, this appears to be the same bag. Located in this bag was a distinct lighter. The cop viewed Kodak Black's Instagram as he self-snitched on himself without even knowing it and saw him using what appeared to be the same lighter. The photo below of the lighter, and you can see the lighter seen in the Instagram as Haitian Boy Kodak's on November 23rd, 2025. Everyone on the scene was asked if the bag belonged to them. Hey, this yours, this yours, this yours. The cop asked everybody. And they said, hell nah. Even Kodak Black said, man, that ain't my shit. I'd never seen that bag in my life. So when Kodak was informed about the money in the bag, he basically attempted multiple times to have the money turned over to him, claiming it belonged to his business. Kodak, however, would not claim the bag or any of its contents. So the money's mine, which you should have just chalked that shit up. But you know, nobody wants to just give up $37,000. Under the rear passenger board, a loaded Glock 23 40 caliber handgun was located by Officer Chase. And based off of the cop's training experience, it's the cop's opinion that this weapon was designed to basically shoot. Everyone on the scene was asked if that gun belonged to them. And once again, everybody said, hell nah. Then based on where the gun was at and the proximity to narcotics and no one claiming ownership of it, the gun was taken. Then the gun was swabbed for fingerprints. No fingerprints were found on the gun, but multiple DNA samples were taken. So based off what the cops say, additionally, a BWC was activated for this dang incident. So on the scene where the people Giscard, Arquita, Dion, Masnick, some other people, I don't know who the hell these people are. They did more and more searching, more and more digging, and they decided to say on April 17, 2026, the cop received a FDLE report for the substance found on the pink bag, and the substances were identified as MDMA with an official weight of 23.34 and I guess an additional 0.25. The trafficking weight for MDMA is 14 grams. And based on that shit alone, because of the weight, your ass is being hit with trafficking MDMA, even if it's for personal use, because you can only be Jim Irsay of the Indianapolis Colts, God rest his soul, and have that much shit upon you. So based on all the evidence, the cop finds probable cause to charge Kodak Black with trafficking MDMA above or below 14 grams. No, what the hell is that? Greater or equal to, greater or equal to 14 grams, but under 200 grams. An arrest warrant was issued for Kodak Black, and that was on the 30th of April. Then they basically say, you know what? We're going to arrest him. He got arrested yesterday, And we find out today, he gets his bond, whatever the hell. But Cohen, he spins the story a whole entire different way. Not saying he's not supposed to. That's your lawyer. That's what he's supposed to do. But I found this to be interesting.
Judge, this happened in November. Oh, before I get to that, we also self-surrendered for the court's edification. We self-surrendered. He was in California. I had him fly back specifically for this case. I was notified by the U.S. Marshal Service and given the opportunity to surrender him. U.S. Marshal Service was beyond professional in this case, just for the record. But if you read the affidavit that is attached to the warrant, Judge, essentially what happened here was there was two vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Neither of the vehicles are registered to Mr. Kapri personally. An officer approaches the vehicles. One vehicle, he says, smells like marijuana. He searches that vehicle, finds something in that vehicle that is unrelated to Mr. Kapri. The second vehicle, and he doesn't even see Mr. Kapri on the scene at this point. The second vehicle, they then inspect. There's one person in that vehicle. There's two bags next to that person, both in the passenger side of the vehicle. One bag has drugs in it and some other items. The other bag has what he initially says, and he doesn't put this in his affidavit, he initially says that he tests it, and it tests as 27 grams of cocaine, which is just under the trafficking amount of 28 grams. When he then sends it in, allegedly, it becomes MDMA. So I also have his original report that says when he originally tested it, it tested as cocaine. Inside that bag, there's some items that he says belong to Mr. Kapri, an identification and some paperwork. He then sends things off to get printed. None of the things in that bag come back to Mr. Kapri as his fingerprints. I think there were several latent prints taken off. None of them match Mr. Kapri. At that point, then Mr. Kapri approaches the officer and is now on the scene, was not in the vehicle, and doesn't make any admission that the bag is his or anything like that. The officer then goes one step further and goes on Mr. Capri's Instagram, and on one picture in his Instagram, there's a picture of him standing next to a bag that looks like the bag that was in the car. Now, I know PC was already found, so I'm not going to argue PC, but it's really screaming at me, but I won't argue it. But, I mean, the case law on this is so very clear, and I use two very, very, I think, esteemed cases. One of them is Edmond v. State, and the other one is McCrae v. State. And I'm just going to be very brief on it.
Right, so let me ask you this before we get into the case.
Yes.
One, has a copy been given to the state?
I'll give her a copy, I'm sorry.
Because certainly last thing we want to do is have a hearing by ambush.
I use these in a lot of the construction possession cases. So the Edmond case is kind of an amazing case. The police raid a house on a warrant. The guy's hiding in the closet with wet cocaine next to him in a hole that his head is within 1 foot of the hole. On the stove is cooking cocaine. Next to the stove is his ID and some paperwork. In a bedroom in the house is more paperwork that belongs to him. The court found that's still not enough for constructive possession. It's kind of an amazing case, and I'll give you the exact site for it, but it's Edmond v. State, and the state has a copy of it. The other one is McCrae. In McCrae, they're pulling a guy over. They pull him over, he jumps out of the car and makes a run for it. As he's running, the officer sees that he's playing with his waistband and makes a throwing motion. He puts him down on the ground, arrests him, and tells the other cop, hey, go back and see what he threw. They find a baggie of cocaine, no fingerprints on it. They print it, no fingerprints on it. And the court says, that's not enough for constructive possession. Those cases are so much closer to constructive possession than this case. And I would just ask the court, in considering a bond, to look at the case, to look at the affidavit that's with the case. And I understand that the typical bond on this is $50,000. I'm asking for a $10,000 bond. I on my way here on the train, I was typing up a motion to dismiss. It's just there is not enough here. I get
Right, and I'll stop you there. I mean, obviously, you know that the motion to dismiss is for another day. We're here for the sole purpose of determining bond and conditions of bond. Your client,
and I appreciate it, Judge. And
I understand the arguments presented by your counsel. I think one of the things that was left out was, well, you weren't necessarily claiming ownership of the bag. You were requesting that the funds within the bag be turned over to you. So there at least is some tie, seems like, to the court, to that bag. Nonetheless, I think in terms of bond, I am going to slightly increase the bond. I think based upon your, not the fact that you're a rapper, I think that has no binding, but the other factors that the court considered is your prior criminal history, including 12 prior felony convictions, 2 misdemeanor convictions, 1 failure to appear. That was quite some time ago, so I'm not giving a ton of weight to the failure to appear, but I think an appropriate bond in this case would be $75,000, so that's going to be what the court sets the bond at. As conditions of your bond, I am going to order that you not return to the scene of the offense, which is 910 Fairvilla Road, Orlando, Florida, which is the Children's Safety Village. Additionally, I am going to order that you not have any contact with any of the co-defendants in your case, so specifically Mr. Avon Joseph and Mr. James Twitty. Additionally, you are not to possess or consume any drugs or controlled substances without a valid prescription. Additionally, this should go without saying because you are already a felon, but you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Additionally, I am going to order that you not have contact with any of the other witnesses in the case, so specifically Isgard Kentave, Arquita McDougald, Dion Rogers, and Mazrik Sanmelis. Aside from that, I believe those are all the conditions that I think would be appropriate in this particular case. Obviously, if you all are seeking to have the bond modified or reduced, you can file the appropriate motion with the assigned judge, and I'm sure they'll get you in the docket to address that for you. I'm also not going to order that you surrender your passport. I don't deem you to be a flight risk. Again, you only have one prior failure to appear dating over 10 years ago. So, Mr. Cohen?
Yes, Judge, this is one thing. One of those individuals is his brother, so I don't know how you don't have contact with your brother.
Which one?
Nasnik. And then the other ones, I think there's some cousins involved in there. One of them is his manager. One of them is his road guy. So
which one's the co-defendant?
It's not a co-defendant. You said no contact with the witnesses.
Right, but before that, I said Avin Joseph and James Twitty.
Yeah, I don't mind about that. That's fine.
Okay.
But there's the other individuals that had nothing to do with this case that were just on the scene. One of them is his brother, Masnick.
Okay.
And then I believe one of them is his, I think two are security and one, two are his security.
All right, which two?
Which two are those? Cantave and Dion.
All right, so I will permit you to have contact with your team, so your security, and so that's Cantave, Rogers, and Sanmelis. You can have contact with them, so I'll strike the conditional.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
So best of luck to you, sir.
Judge.
You as well.
In a day and age of what we would call red pill that preaches accountability, will we do that for Kodak Black at all? I can't feel bad for Kodak Black. I know y'all want to be on that. Oh man, he's blah, 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 and all of this shit. And I get it. All right, Kodak Black, talented in music. He's a good rapper. He's a face of his generation for sure. He got in some beefs that some of y'all would agree, some of y'all would disagree. You know, the YB better, Kodak better, and all that shit and everything. YB is clearly better. But that's neither here nor there. We had to ask ourselves, when you keep doing it to yourself, why don't we point the finger at you? Y'all remember the last time when he had the prescription pills or whatever and the cops pulled him over and all this shit? His mom was crying. She was like, oh, I'll take that charge for my baby. Don't take my baby away from me, no. Right? And everybody was like, damn, bro, you letting your mama down. Then your baby mama, she got hit up for drug trafficking not too long ago. So now, I'm not sorry for what I'm about to say. You facing 30 effing years because you want to kick it and get high. You do know you could have did this shit in your house, right? Like, you do know you're a multi-millionaire. You could have went home in your backyard and did this shit. This is junkie behavior, bro. So you got to kick it out anywhere. Strapped up, drugged up, a lot of money, just to chill because you got a green Lambo. Shout out to the car nice as hell. I ain't gonna lie, you know, shit. Nash need one of those. I'm just too broke. I might get something real quick and steal some body parts and buy a Lamborghini. But this ain't about setting Nash's broke ass reality dreams. I can't feel bad for Kodak, bruh. I can't. And the fact that I can't feel bad for him means what the hell are y'all doing? Are y'all feeling bad for this person? Honestly. This nigga been having brushes with the law for like the last 10 years. He done did state time. He done did fed time. He done got pardoned. He done did all of this shit, bro. So it gets to a point, it gets to a level where you got to go, man, I think you might be a fucked up person and you messed yourself up. It's all right to admit these things these days. Not sorry. So when I think of the level of Kodak Black, y'all keep on saying, oh, Nash, man, he needs some therapy. He needs to go down to rehab. No, he don't. He need a real reality check. Cohen gonna do what he supposed to do. Get all that shit. And if he beat it, all right. But at the same time, the lesson ain't gonna be learned. It just ain't. We're at a day and age where responsibility only gets thrown on women. And now when men try to respond with all this shit, we all of a sudden supposed to understand. I won't understand. I'll reject any notion of anything. Bruh is a junkie. And you know how junkies change? They change when they realize the person in the mirror ain't the person that they recognize anymore. And their actions are taking them away from their kids, their family, the times that they're supposed to be enjoying with their youth, the money, the success. He can't even enjoy none of this shit because he screwed himself over. Bro had a Kodak Black Day or some shit like that in one of them cities in his hometown. Just to do this shit. What a slap in the face to everybody who believed in you. And some of y'all gonna be, man, it was his shit, his lawyer shit. Man, come on, bro. Come on, man. But subscribe, turn bells to notified, share to keep your people aware. If you don't or you won't, I completely understand. But I'm a man before I'm ever a fan. You feel me? It is what it is. But y'all, let me know your thoughts on this. Click right here, though, to see how YW Melly took a W. A W? I can't throw the W with my left hand. I don't know what that is. And I'm left-handed. But a W? Huh. How? Click right here for that video or click right here or right here for the playlist. And I'll catch you on the next one.